Throwing the Podcast, where we also throw the dice and kill gods. Technically.
Good
Oh,
times.
I mean, depending on.
Technically.
I mean, depends on which universe you're in.
Yep. I am
Okay.
Club Kyle, and I am joined today by three people, one of which will join later. The first of which, you know him as Ellerin in Cidria, in the Looming of Cidria. Richard, how are you doing?
What's up? I am doing good.
And joined, and the topic of today is the DM of the Looming Styles of Cidria and recent completer of the first arc of the campaign. Jacob, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. And I'm doing pretty good.
That's good. So, gentlemen, as we all know, we recently just succeeded in completing the first big bad killing the first big bad evil guy of Jacob's campaign, the first real big one.
Good
Now,
times.
and today, and that brings us to our topic. Today we are doing a Q&A for Jacob. Sorry, I'm a little today. We are currently going to be asking Jacob questions about his campaign, why he did certain things, and just basically asking him more about his campaign to see what the world is like. So, Rich, I give the floor
great.
to
I
you.
didn't study for this chat.
What's up?
I will give the first question to you, Rich.
Okay. This is one that I was thinking about for a little bit. So you remember, like, I think it actually was episode 1 of the campaign, when it
Live
was
streamed or offline?
No, like this was offline, so out of context. So it's a
Yeah,
little bit
not
out
as
of
much
context.
context.
The very first one. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. See, so like, I'm guessing you remember when it was just me, we were Ellerin, Garrick, and Marks. How we were approached. I think it was when we first met Nami. How she gave us like the options to either stay with what was it? I think it was Hawthorne.
Yeah,
Stay with
basically
Hawthorne.
Kurtzbane mainly. Were we going to be allies of Kurtzbane
We were
or
going to be Alex,
Goodell?
Kirksvane, Goodell, or, and I know with Ellerin, but it was go do his own thing. But we all somehow because it was secret, we all managed to go with Goodell and join together. My question is, what were you gonna do if none of us stuck together? Like, what if we all went and did our own thing, or we didn't side with any of us? Did you have a plan to bring us all back together? Were we gonna have us fight? What was your
So the plan with that one, I'll be honest, when it came down to, so to give a little like context to this, as well as planning out this campaign, I knew that, first off, it probably isn't advised, to split the party off,
No.
right there.
Nope.
But I at the time was thinking, all right, you know what, I want to challenge, and I want to give these players, as much options as possible. And
Okay.
I decided, all right, well, this is going to be a very critical turning point within the campaign. I'll give the players these three options and see which one they'll choose. And what I was gonna do, you guys were gonna eventually get back to each other. It was just gonna be quite a bit of time before that happened. Because how it ended whenever Kirksvane and Goodell actually, they joined forces in the end. If you guys had chosen to split up split the party, and like say two of you chose Kirksvane and the other one chose Goodell, then it was gonna end up you guys eventually meeting up somewhere on the field. And you probably would definitely bicker out which sides, kind of like argue which side's better, because you each would get a different point of view within each of the kingdoms. I couldn't. If someone had chosen the third path, going and just siding with Nami, it would have been. you guys would meet up somewhere on the field of battle, except the third person might be put up as kind of like the Avatar, going with both sides and trying to stop the conflict and bring the two kingdoms together.
Okay.
So yes, you guys would definitely have gone back around to each other eventually.
Okay.
All right.
My question. Uh, what differences would there have been if we had all chosen Kurtzbane, for example? Following up on this question, I think this is a good one to follow up on. The story
Well,
obviously would
it
have different.
depends.
Like, we would have met different royal children. Like, how different would you say that would have been?
So here's so there would have been a lot different with it. For example, you would definitely meet. You will definitely have different royal children, each with their own unique personalities to them, as well as you get a different aspect on how Kirksvane is run. Kirksvane is more. They're more like, I wouldn't say like strict, but they are definitely harder in terms on their troops and stuff of that sort. They're more militarized than the Goodels are. Now, I wouldn't say that um, they're not fearful for like I don't know, say if Thanos had an army and he just trained them to be strict as all hell. I've never seen the Avengers movie, but that was the first thing that came to mind.
They
But,
were
like,
more. Thanos turned his army more soulless, more than anything.
well,
So
uh,
so basically, like Kirksvane would have fought. Kirksvane is more militarized than actually like, well, I guess you could say, um, more economically powerful. I guess they're more powerful in their military than they are in their actual like civilization. I can't
yeah,
really.
no, they would be more militarized in their civilization, but they wouldn't go to the extremes of making it harsh. Say like some of the people that some of the armies in World War II that forced people to join. They wouldn't go and force people, but they would highly encourage it.
It's a society that rewards
Especially
military valor.
training alongside with the Minotaurs there too. Their city is also a little bit more. I want to
Militarized.
say no. Their city is more. They'd have more of a Greek style to them, a Greek
Okay.
esque to their city. They have a little bit harsher climates up there, but you guys definitely would have had a lot of different missions had you guys joined up with Kurtzbane.
I'm sure. So we would have had a different point of view. Like a
Oh yeah,
big difference, because Goodell was a lot of bonds with family. They didn't focus too heavily on their military. Like, they focused on it, but not in the way Kurtzbane would have.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know what? I'll do a follow up to that too. Then you said that if one of us were to go with Nami, only one of us, we would kind of be like the Avatar, trying to unite the kingdoms and stop the bloodshed. Now, would that be the same if all three of us decided to go with Nami?
Yes, you guys, you guys definitely would be tasked with doing that. And the idea, I think, one of the ideas she would have to try and do this is have you both, like, have you three infiltrate to a degree, the both of the kingdoms, trying to get a little buddy with the kingdom, not completely joining them, but enough to where they're like, I mean, hey, we could use you, we would like you to join, but if you don't want to, that's quite all right.
Okay, that makes sense. So whichever we chose, and no matter who chose what, you had a plan for everything.
Uh, I'll be honest, to a degree, yeah, to a degree, I had a plan for everything. There have been a lot of times within this campaign that have been completely roleplay, and where I'd assumed that you guys might go next. Um, and there have been times, of course, whenever like you guys have completely surprised me. I'm like, okay, well, I got to think of something quick. What would happen in this instance that could change this? And yeah, a lot of it was roleplay. Oh, not roleplay, but improv.
You know what? And you know what, Alex? That actually, what he just said is it gives me a perfect follow up. Um, if you want to ask a question, I can, but I've got a perfect follow
No,
up.
go ahead. Alice is here too, so she'll get the next question after you.
Yeah. So, Jacob, following up with what you just said, what was actually something in the campaign that you were 100% unprepared for? Like, what was something you did not expect to happen at all?
So the one thing,
Me.
absolutely that no,
Me.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. Your backstory was something that was something I was unprepared for. However, that wasn't something that really caught me off by surprise. Um, the thing that really caught me, like completely off the charts, like I was not expecting it, was really the ending on how was really have to be whenever you guys were going in towards like the final episode. Whenever after you guys got like was deciding the sword, like the actions that each and every one of you in that session uh surprised me. As I was going through there making the entire session, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be honest with myself. There's nothing here that I can actually really assume that would happen. This is a very major turning point within the entire campaign, so anything could really have happened. So whenever you guys decided to split off the party and Titan messaged me saying, "Hey, remove Marlo's thing," I'm like, "Okay, something's up here." And whenever he did, I'm like, "Ah, was not counting on that one." I think the biggest one would have had to been Marlo breaking off from the group.
Yeah, that was something none of us expected.
That was something. I will miss the pish posh.
Yeah, pish posh.
Push push.
Pish posh.
I was planning in the beginning of you guys splitting up. Whenever that choice came into play, and in a sense, I was hoping that you guys would honestly split up because it would have given me more of a challenge and gave me an opportunity to work both sides. But if you guys didn't, that would have been fine too. As we had continue along with the entire campaign, I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, okay, I don't see how any of these guys would want to break up from the group at all for any sort of reason, and that was the biggest surprise when that happened.
All right.
All right, and I believe Alice, it's your turn to ask a question. Speaking of which, everyone, please welcome Alice, Resmira, and Lumichel's Cidria. Get for stream here.
Oh yeah.
I just finished drinking my hot brown morning potion, so.
Yep. So,
Like some good
if you get the reference,
good on you. You've been watching.
good on you. So what questions were asked? Because I was not.
Basically, this was before your time. We asked questions that were mainly before your time on the game, including, basically, I think one of them was how, like, what was the most improv moment? I guess was that what you asked, Rich?
Well, like, what was the one thing that he expected like the least to happen?
Exactly.
What was the most
was
caught off guard.
Yep. So basically, stuff before.
The biggest throw off that we've ever done for him.
So basically, stuff like that. We've only asked 3 questions now.
Oh, okay.
4 technically, but you know.
Yeah.
So, this is gonna get into some DMing antics. Since you're new to actually hosting a session, a campaign, how well prepared are you in the sense of how well prepared do you think you are every session?
So, since this was my first ever campaign to run, That was like major, not no one shots or anything of that sort. It's like a major campaign. I'm gonna be honest. A lot of the times when I was DMing, if it's something that I had a little like, a lot of the times it was I go in there and I'm like, okay, so I got what I needed to get done. However, whatever came my way, I just tried to adapt to
Ships.
stuff that I will say that I was not
Sorry,
entirely prepared for.
It cut out on my end. What you answered, just like a few seconds cut off on my end. The last thing I heard the things you weren't prepared for. So I'm sorry. Just.
Oh no, that's okay. I was just getting into those. No, there were plenty. There was plenty of things that I wasn't prepared for, such as like some of the monsters I was dealing with, and for example, like the boss fight that you guys had over at Hawthorne with those casting that like 7th level spell. That was something I had like no knowledge of.
Yeah.
So I was unprepared to have the lashback, which was fine because I knew I was gonna have some struggles along the way. I was actually anticipating it with a lot of the sessions that I'm like, okay, somewhere in here I'm gonna fuck up. So I'm just gonna mentally prepare myself for what feedback I get and try to not make those mistakes again.
Yep.
And for the most part, along the time, like going through, I feel like that, like over time, I eventually got to where I'm like, okay, I understand most of it, so I'm a little bit more prepared. Definitely towards the end, I was more prepared on like how to run things, what roles are needed to be made, stuff like that. Yeah, that I was definitely unprepared for a lot of it.
Yep. Which preparedness, that does lead into my question. Whose character was the most fun to write for? In terms of the player characters, mind you.
So, in terms of player characters, each of your guys' characters that came in here, they all had a lot that I could work with. If I'm gonna be honest, the one that I had writing for the most, or planning for in better terms, the most for, has got to be Razmira.
I had figured.
I kind of figured
because out of all the characters that came up to your guys' backstories, honestly, writing out, well, for one, Razmira's character was really vague, given to me. So that was an equally fun challenge to work around with.
She does that.
Two,
I tend to do that on purpose. I don't do it. I don't do it because I just don't have any ideas. I do it on purpose.
Which is fine. So it was a challenge. And then giving the availability to kind of bring in some of the ideas I had for Razmira's, and those actually being like, yeah, no, that sounds like a cool idea. Let's go with it. Because Gorik is probably by far my favorite character to play. It was, I don't know, the entire concept for him was fun, but if I were to give a second backstory to work with, I'd have to, because I haven't done anything too much with Garrick entirely right now.
Which is ironic, because Garrick has been doing a lot of stuff in game.
He's done so much shit.
Oh, yeah. He's done a lot.
In fact, I'm taking a back seat on the next campaign. I'm not gonna make too many decisions because I'm like, okay, I don't want to turn this into this is the Garrick story.
I'd have to say would have to be probably Marks.
Really?
Yeah, I can see that.
The reason being for that one is, don't get me wrong, I liked working with the small amount of time I had with Marlowe. Love that character. Marx had given me stuff that would allow me to produce a lot of conflict that none of the other characters had. Because his character was part of the Cursing Army at one point. He worked alongside, he worked alongside Thomas, and there was, because the main thing was surrounding around the two kingdoms originally. So having someone that originally worked with that side gave me a lot of opportunities to bring up so much more conflicts than maybe what some of the other characters might have had. Don't feel guilty though, Titan. I know you're watching.
Yeah, he just messaged. He just
Yeah.
messaged.
I
make
see
me feel
that.
guilty, you ass.
And this is a question from Deacon, who personally messaged me. Since Marinette is dead, will there ever be Korvac 2, the Korvacanine?
Yes. Yes. So about that. So the Korvac to the Korvacaning was supposed to happen. However,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to improvise a little bit on that one.
Okay,
especially
so
since she's dead.
for
However, I'm sure I could work with the gods to allow her spirit to come back up here and star for a second running.
Okay, so
Kind of a callback.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, we made a joke. Richard here made a parody trailer of a movie where Korvac is being chased by Marinette. It was a show of clips. It was like a very decently made trailer. It wasn't like, anything grand or nothing.
I mean,
but the
maybe
problem was,
yeah.
it was funny. We
It's
got to
got
laugh at
even
it.
it.
They put the thought in my head. I take
problem-
full responsibility
The
for
problem with it is that, unfortunately, it had several copyrighted images in there, and we could not use it.
We could
Yep.
not.
Yeah,
We
which
could not keep it. Which
I,
it's a shame, but it's understandable. If if I had like gotten into animation, I would totally make like a custom like little clip,
yeah. All
because
right.
that would be an interesting.
I
little
have
footage to
ideas,
use.
but that's gonna take me some time.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of,
Of course.
Speaking of you, Alice, since you were late,
What?
it figures to
Oh.
give you the next question.
What?
If you don't want it, we can
What?
just go to Rich.
Go to Rich.
Rich, next question.
Okay. What was
The caffeine hasn't settled.
what? Now she asked about your favorite character ever. What do you think was the most difficult character to write for?
Or still write for. Keep in mind, this is still
Or
an
to
ongoing
still
thing.
or to still write for? That's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to be Garrick,
Really?
Really?
and with good reason. For one, his entire story is, as the viewers and all of us still know, his story isn't entirely complete.
No, it's not.
However, we don't know where we're going to be heading off in the second chapter.
And by that we mean we
As
haven't
of yet,
decided.
until
We have ideas, we just don't know.
pilot episode comes up.
Yes.
So, I can't really plan anything for his. His is, since his father really isn't anywhere within Cidria or hasn't really taken a step forward up until the last moment
For good
of the
reason.
last chapter by sending some men. He himself haven't. We'll get on to that one.
Yeah.
He himself didn't have a lot, like, I guess, to work for, considering the fact that how can I put it? There wasn't a lot of there wasn't, I guess, a little bit wasn't enough like given to there. At the same time, the position that Garrick was at most of the time, there really isn't anything, and especially how the character was played. There wasn't really anything I could exactly do for story arc.
Until the end.
Until towards the end, because by the point of the time whenever the characters had a little bit more involvement with each other, like it was like a good halfway and all that, and we had all the characters in there. Garrick himself already had, he did a lot already.
Yeah, hence why I'm taking a back seat.
He got married to Cidria. He has kids. He knows the main threat to him and the rest of the crew currently is with Talaric, and
I did my stuff with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Garrick as a character doesn't seem like the type of guy to go wandering off.
No.
To go adventuring. I guess you could say, like, in that position, because he's once he obtained, especially when he obtained the rank of general, it's kind of more of like he's spending time with Satra or the rest of the crew.
He's a family man.
And doing essentially the job that he obtained.
Yeah.
While working there, so his definitely has been one of the tougher ones. But I'm hoping within the coming sessions that entirely will be changed and turned around.
Like I said, I'm taking more of a backseat in the future sessions because I did my thing. I was the technical hero of the battle. I am going to lay back on him because he did his part, and I shouldn't take front stage until the end again. Everyone else will have, yeah.
I mean, no, which is fine. There is going to be a lot. I'm gonna be honest with depending on how the pilot episode going, because I'm still going to decide. That's probably going to be the first episode before we actually get.
We're getting a pilot.
Pilot
question mark?
Yep.
The idea I'm doing with this is what I'd like to do is is have one episode introduce new characters and see where the group wants to go. Because here's the thing is that I would much rather have like the group decide where they want to go first before I go and work heavily on one particular thing, especially since I'm in school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd rather see where everything goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And that is why, like, within the next few weeks or so, there's going to be an episode where it's just going to be the beginning of that.
Yeah, like in the next. After this week, we'll probably have the start of chapter 2 of the campaign, where we mostly improv, we talk, and then we make plans, and then we decide on where we're gonna go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I do hope that within the coming chapter that not entirely have Garrick do a backseat, more so kind of bring him down a few notches in terms of like start of the show and bring everybody up onto about an even skill.
Exactly. Hence why I'm taking a backseat.
Yeah.
Even I knew this. Like I knew that like I had I did a lot of stuff, and while I was in character, I always did feel guilty. I was like, maybe I'm taking this away from someone else. So hence why, until the very end, until we deal with Garrick's backstory stuff, which will probably be campaign ender, I am not going to like be the hero in a sense of whatever next adventure we're going to be. That's going to be to someone else.
Yeah, and actually with that, I want to add on to that. That's also why Alex, during several of the times whenever there were story arcs, I might have given a couple more to another player because I felt like they deserved it at the time to have a little bit more interactions with them.
Yeah.
And there's definitely going to be many more to come through. It's just it'll be all revealed in due time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I always went last for my stuff, because when you did separate stories for everyone, I was like, I'm going last. Everyone else should have their moment in the sun.
Well, I mean, to be fair, a lot of the ones that we ended off with when it was yours. Kind of had a really good, nice ending to it.
True. But
And then there's me feeling guilty because I got 2 like short episodes justified.
I mean, you were about on even scale with
yeah,
everybody
I
else.
felt
so-
bad
I feel-
actually.
I
Like
honestly-
I get my own episodes. This is not fair.
no, it's plenty fair because the beginning of ours of the last episode was us 3, so it makes sense you 2 get one.
Yeah,
We,
Still,
you
which
I
is
know,
feel like
why that it will definitely come up as like a little story arc for,
Rasmir and Korvac.
Razmir and stuff like that.
But
Which that one's gonna be fun to work with. But
yep.
we'll get into that one later.
But here's a question from Titan. Do you want to say it,
I'm
Alice?
gonna ask it.
Yeah, you do it. Yeah, Alice.
So here's a question from Titan. What moment came out most different from what you originally planned?
So,
Jacob. Oh no.
Jacob has perished.
It might be internet thing again.
And he's gone.
And he's back. Yep. Jacob, testing, 1, 2,
Jacob.
1, 2. Test,
Fix
test.
3.
Jacob.
Oh boy, we apologize, folks.
The damn.
Okay,
Look,
you're
I
back,
got
you're
this
back, you're back.
dragon. Its name is Ben. He keeps fucking with my internet. Okay.
It was Van.
Anywho,
It's Van through.
it's Vinthra.
It's Van
Um,
through.
So, the thing that there was a good couple moments that came out unexpected than what was planned. To name a few, would one of them would have to be the interactions with the different NPCs. Another one would have to be how the ending of Hawthorne came out.
Oh, yeah.
The one that definitely surprised me, that came out the really most different. I'm sure everybody can guess this one. Would have to be the ending of it.
Thomas, me saving Thomas.
Yes. Well, no, not exactly that one. The ending of it. So here, a little insight as to what was originally planned. Of course, I decided, a good portion of the way through, I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna give the players this option, on a different way if they wanted to approach it. This is, entirely up to the players and how they choose.
Mhm.
But the original ending for this was you guys were gonna be, after capturing Hawthorne and him escaping, there was gonna be a moment where, you guys are gonna, of course, since you reached a pinnacle point within the war, you guys were captured essentially the middle of the entire region. You're gonna be tasked. You guys were gonna be tasked with going up, further up north, and going to the going up north and marching alongside to Kirksvane, which is also why I'm gonna post this for little thing real quick. Guys, we're gonna go up north and reach Kirksvane at some point, and going through there. King Robert was gonna go and make his final stand there. He'd be like, "All right, I knew this war was gonna happen. It was gonna turn eventually. So I'm gonna have a lot of, I'm gonna try evacuating most of my citizens and making my final stand here. And you guys were gonna go through there, kill them, and then a lot of stuff was gonna go down. 2 of the royal children are gonna die, and there was gonna be a giant, Mass Effect destruction amongst around the entire region. Hawthorne was going to be destroyed. Kirksvane was going to be destroyed. Goodell was going to be destroyed. A lot of people's lives were going to be destroyed, and ruined by the spirit. And the ending of it was going to be, all right, once you guys got there and everything happened, you're going to make one final attempt of an attack and go to the western continent and defeat Talric there. and that was going to be that's how it was originally envisioned. Originally as well, it was going to be once you managed to actually go and defeat Tariq, there was going to be he was going to make one last attack, which that was actually something that came out kind of the same, kind of not.
But it didn't work.
Nami was going to get hit by the darkness and was going to corrupt her, and as one final attempt for an attack, because once he had sent the his power over to her to corrupt her, he wasn't been able to do that for a good long while, since the towers at that point would have been destroyed, so all his power and energy are completely gone. You guys would have had to face her instead as the final boss, but
Yeah,
it that
didn't turn out that way.
obviously
And
that
I
did not
think-
turn out
and
that way.
I think this is where Garrick did take more of an active role in the game, because he was the only one who knew that was coming.
Mm-hmm.
He was the only one that knew that that was coming because I told him.
You know what happened was we had to make a choice. Either Garrick or Rasmira would remember, and you chose Garrick.
Yeah.
If Rasmira had been the one who had known, it's more likely she might have taken front and center.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where things sort of
Oh,
fell
yeah.
in stone, because Garrick was like, this war doesn't matter, we're destroying each other, we gotta stop this, and that's where the turnaround point came.
Oh yeah, no, hands down, and the other last thing that was unexpected was honestly Garrick saving Marks, considering the fact that Marks told him, "Hey, if I got corrupted, kill me,"
Which,
and that didn't happen.
aside to ruin a running joke, I did that because that's what Garrick would try to do. He would,
Oh yeah.
and he did. And now he's the god of death. Alright,
No more wandering spirits.
Yep. I guess it's
I
my...
mean,
Although
there's always King. Well, King Zolot could easily decide to like, hey, let me see.
But,
But
yeah, so I guess it's my question. We're going to be doing this for about maybe 20-ish more minutes, because, again, like, I can't stream this all day, and I like to keep around an hour time. My question for you, Jacob, is, were you satisfied with how everything turned out? You talked about how the plans changed, how we changed your plans pretty hard with our actions. Are you satisfied with the way it turned out?
so actually, I'll be honest, I am satisfied with the way things turned out. Cause here's the thing. One of the things that I wanted to do, like, so I was satisfied with the fact that one of the what this brought upon me that gave me an opportunity to test out as a beginning DM was a wave attack. That is something I've never done throughout the campaign. I've never done a one shot, none of it, and this actually gave me a challenge to do that. The ending I felt was definitely better than what was intended. I felt that it was a little bit more cinematic than what could have been, than what would have happened. And I'd have to I feel like the ending also gave a bit more, development to all the characters, all of the places, standing there, united under essentially to a degree one flag to go and defeat their foes, and the entire thing was just personally, if this was a show, it'd be it'd be very cinematic, and it gave me it gave me an options to try things that I've never been able to do before. So yeah, I was 100% satisfied with how it ended, and I don't think it could have gone any better.
Yep, that is... well, I'm happy you're satisfied. That was my big question. Rich, I believe it's your turn.
What was your favorite moment in the campaign so far?
Oh shit. Jacob, testing 1 2 1 2.
Can you hear me? No, we cannot.
No, he left. Again, we apologize, folks. All right, Jacob, test
Testing.
1 2.
Yeah.
Okay, you're here.
Internet.
Yep, I figured.
Discord. Well, not internet. Discord.
Yep. So, favorite moment of the campaign, I believe, was Rich's question.
Yeah, favorite moment of the campaign so far.
That is a hard one because there has been a lot of good moments within the campaign. That I at the very least I thought was pretty enjoyable throughout there. So would you care if I gave out two? Because there's two in specific that was probably the best.
A tie
Fair
is
enough.
totally fine.
Fine, it's your game.
So there were two that I'd have to say tied. In terms of moments, I'd have to say the first one would be the introduction with Marlo and like a little bit more deeper understanding and talking and conversing with the other royal children, with the other players that were there. I felt that was a really good moment.
Pish posh.
Pish posh.
The last one.
That will never go away.
Pish posh in his memory.
Yep. The other one, Jacob?
The last moment, honestly, had to be the final episode.
What
the reason being
specifically
with that
in
one,
that was to be fair, that was a 6-hour episode.
that was a 6-hour one.
So,
It was 6 hours long.
So can you,
6.5 actually.
So it's
I
possible.
couldn't finish that at work.
Yeah.
The thing, don't get me wrong, there other memorable moments had to have been like whenever you guys were finally getting the sword and everybody was splitting off at that point. The moment with King Zolith, the first couple of arcs with Marks, Garrick and Elrin were pretty good, but overall that one would have had the last episode had to be my favorite.
Episode, sure.
Because that was the one that I actually felt like I put in a lot more thought into that one than previous sessions. I wanted to make sure that one went out with a bang, and honestly, just the entire mood of it was something I was trying to go for. It was meant to be solemn. Yes,
Solemn.
Can't pronounce the word.
Yeah, solemn.
Solemn, upsetting, victorious, inspirational, happy, sad, energetic. A bunch of emotions that I know I felt throughout a lot of games that I've played, and I wanted to take the experience that I've had and bring it to the rest of the group and to the rest of the episode as well, which is why that one has got to be my favorite, my top 2 favorite moments.
Okay, to be fair, sure the last episode's your favorite episode, but to kind of narrow in on Rich's question, which moment in that episode, like which individual moment was your favorite?
Yeah, we'll go a little more detail with that.
Yeah, let's go a little bit more detail.
So, the favorite moment within that one, honestly, would it have to be? There's a lot of good moments in that one. I would say whenever you guys finally defeated Telric, but I can't. That one's just not up there. I would typically say, I would say the as you guys are about to go into battle, and the entire speech. But I don't think that one's just as memorable as the interactions each and every one of you guys had with the other players.
Before,
At the beginning was really memorable.
The beginning,
but I scratched that one off too. The real main memorable one would have to be whenever Korvac and Razmira came in. It was such a it was a good timing moment for them to arrive as last reinforcements to reunite with their friends for one last battle that they may not survive in.
Which technically I didn't.
And it wasn't seldom. It wasn't sad. It was all right. This is our final push. Are you in or are you out? This type of deal.
Okay. Alrighty then. Alice, I believe it's your turn.
So I'm gonna go with an opposite question to Richard's over there. What was actually your least favorite moment, or the moment that you're actually disappointed about in this entire first chapter of the campaign?
So there was there were too many good moments, but if I had to choose one that had to be the least, like, one that I was the most disappointed about, Titan, I know this one's coming straight at you, mate. But it had
Just
to be
do
whenever
it.
Marks,
Just do it. That's fire.
whenever Marks decided to leave, whenever Titan decided to leave Marks, I was disappointed in that one. But at the same time,
Shots fired. Shots fired.
But I understood he explained to me why he wanted to not continue Marks, and I understood that. It made sense with why he didn't want to do it, and I wanted to, my number one thing when it came down to players in any campaigns that I ran on from the start, starting with this one all the way to the others, was honestly for each player to be comfortable with their character. Now, if we were at a pinnacle moment, like say for like going into like this is like last before the final battle, or so something like that, I would say no. I need you to stick with it. However, this was at a good time. Whenever he'd want to talk to me about it. And I'm like, you know what? Sure. It would honestly give a good amount of conflict to the other characters, but at the same time, I feel bad for everybody else because that character, their relationships that they had with this particular character is now going to be kind of thrown out into the window, and they may never see this person again. So
that's just war.
Honestly, that was my least favorite moment.
It had to happen. Like
it had to happen.
Okay, as a player, I made peace with the fact that Satra could have died. Like, I made peace with that hard. Like, I was like, okay, Garrett could lose his wife, his children could lose their mother, and they could potentially lose their father. I had to make peace with that. It was still gonna hurt. Like, I hated that Del Sando died, because he was a work in progress, and I was making good progress on him.
Yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna say. That's my second least favorite moment, was the roles I got. I'm like, first thought, poor Morden. Second thought,
poor Theresa.
Fuck. That's like half of the remaining family left over, and the relationships that the characters I've made with those characters are just now thrown out the window. We knew what we were doing. I'm sure Korvac is happy, but
Yeah, well, look, we made peace. I think we all made peace with that inevitability. Like, we all knew what was happening. We expected more deaths, honestly, on the player side, and if it wasn't for a resurrection, Garrick would have died. And I made peace with that, because I chose to wield that weapon. I knew what I was getting myself into.
Shot yourself in the foot there.
And I would gladly do it all over again.
Oh my god, you really gotta stop carrying the world on your shoulders.
I am next chapter, because
you
my
are
goal
not
was...
next.
Alright, so I believe we have time for one more question. Who would like to ask it? Alice just did hers.
If anybody in the audience would like to ask one last question.
We don't have too many viewers, but
Stop it, Atlas.
No, stop. It's alright, so I have a question for you, Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
This was a 19-session story. Like, we had 12 or 13 episodes of this. I think 12. 12 was the final. The audience missed, I believe, 6 sessions. We have seen you grow as a DM, and I am very proud of your progress, because, like, you managed... to hit a lot of good points. My question for you is that did you feel pride in your storytelling when we were in that chamber? When we had to decide who was going to wield a weapon, who died. The fact that we all felt that emotion, the fact that you made us feel like we felt sad and solemn. Do you take any pride in that?
So, I'll actually, if we got time, I'll try to hurry up this one. I'll answer that one. So, in a sense, I did, but at the same time, I didn't feel like I deserved all that pride. Now, the reason I state this is because a lot of the times throughout this campaign, we know how you, Alex, go through and you actually write stuff down.
I physically
with this particular, basically with this part of this chapter, a lot of it was really just improv. There wasn't a lot planned. There wasn't a script. There wasn't anything written out for majority of this campaign except for a few parts. And that moment, when it came down to it, I felt that it was really a lot of the players that gave off the mood because they are the players. They are the ones who are participating in the story. They are the ones that this story is about. And you guys got to that moment, and you guys basically just naturally went into that mood. So in a sense, I'm proud, but at the same time, I feel like I shouldn't be taking all of that pride. That really, it's the players that should be a bit more prideful. They were really, everybody that participated in that episode pulled off so well, and I couldn't have asked for a better session.
Fair enough.
So that is my answer.
One last question.
Yeah, one last question. I'm gonna read it out. This is another one, and I think this will be the last one, and this is from Titan. If you could change anything, what would it be?
Well, obviously, Mars.
Oh my god! Just rub it in, will ya?
I'm joking on that one. That one is joking. If I could actually change anything, does it have to be like what's just like the campaign or how I prepare things?
I would wager to guess
that one is a really broad question.
I think.
I think he would answer in a few, but you know. Yeah, I guess let's assume it's really what you think about it, what you interpret of it. Oh, campaign. Never mind. You said campaign.
So, if there was something I could change, since this was my first time, and you guys, as I had stated before, like this was kind of like a beta of the campaign. If I had to put it into perspective, I honestly think that I guess maybe give more chances to be with the other real children, some of the other NPCs that were there, give a lot more options to what it could do. Of course, this is something I intend on changing in the future and stuff, but the kind of definitely the difficulties of the enemies you guys fought, I would totally change that. Just a bit of small things that I would change.
Okay.
To it.
Well,
which it's something that will be noticeable that I intend to do within the coming sessions.
Yep. But in the comments, what do you want to know about the campaigns? Do you have any questions? Please let us know on the YouTube comments. Until then, remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until then, this has been Throwing the Podcast. See ya.
See ya.